Thanks very much. Thanks, Kenny, for the introduction, and thanks to the Mines and Mines Organising Committee for inviting Magmatic to present our mine project, the value of persistence undercover in the East Lachlan. So regional overview. So we've got our licence up here is EL 6913, covers about 244 square kilometres, and Magmatic held the licence since about 2014. It's in the northern part of the Junee Narromine Belt, and under the southern part of the Great Artesian Basin, with about 60 to 140 metres of cover. I'd just like to. Gideon earlier said exploration keep going north of North Park, so I'd just like to say that we're in that sort of area that he was talking about, as well as other explorers like Inflection to the north of us. So geographically, we're about 25 kilometres southwest of Narromine in the central west New South Wales. This is a world-class province. We've got Newmont's Cadia, North Park's Cowell, Evolution's Cowell, and also developing a lot happening at Tomalee Gold Mine with and also the Boda discovery in 2019. So I'm just happy that we made John Greenfield's maiden resource slide, which we're pretty happy about. We also made his significant intercept chart as well. And also just our sister company AGC was also on that significant intercept table. So we've got an inferred resource, 110 million tonnes at 0.27% copper and 0.07 gold, and we've recently signed a joint venture agreement with in March this year, a joint venture agreement with Fortescue. So our licence covers the Narromine igneous complex, the Ordovician igneous complex, and all the because it's under deep cover, all the geology is from air core chips and some of the air core chips have diamond tails. That's all from historical and our drilling programs. So what we'll talk about today is the persistence of exploration here, and also some of the controls we've got on the breccia style mineralisation that we see. This is a exploration history slide. This was prepared by our senior geologist Peter Smith. It shows exploration from back here, starting in 1980 up to here in 2025. New South Wales' favourite explorer here, Geopico. A little bit of exploration in the very early 80s. But exploration really started here when Rinnison Goldfields pegged the licence, the original licence, and started reconnaissance air core drilling. They subsequently joint ventured with Resolute and also with Newcrest during that period. Incidentally, so the top graph shows the average depth of the holes, and you can see Newcrest, Resolute, and also Magmatic have drilled some of the deeper holes in the belt. So we're very proud of our geological data set. We acquired it from Goldfields, and we've sort of kept it in good condition and sort of built on that set. The bottom graph is East Lachlan discovery timeline from the E26 back here, 1980. Up to Boda in 2019. So we've got the regional geophysics here with the gravity on the left-hand side, and gravity here, and the magmatic and the aeromagnetic on the right-hand side. Significant feature of that is these gravity lows. So these cover the Cowell igneous complex, the North Park igneous complex, and also the Narromine igneous complex. From the regional geochemistry, so this is the size of the North Park's porphyry cluster at the same scale. This is our mile project. So the regolith copper has a very large, has a 2.5 kilometre length, and with multiple deposits in it. And ours here is a similar length, about 2.5 kilometres at greater than 1,000 ppm copper sort of a regolith anomaly. And the two geological features here is the BQM, the biotite quartz monzonite at North Parkes, and our Corvette monzodiorite that we've recently defined, and we'll talk about that in a bit more detail. Interestingly, there's a couple of discoveries that Evolution or prospects that Evolution have discovered here on the contact of their biotite quartz monzonite, E51 and Major Tom, and they sit right on the contact. So we have large. So North Parkes obviously very large deposit, very large resource reserves, and 22 porphyry deposits there. And Mile has multiple large intercepts at North Parkes equivalent grades. Oops, sorry. So the regional geochemistry, we've got access to these holes. There's 768 drill holes over the project for 110,000 metres. We've got the Corvette Kingswood sort of area here, and other prospects, and also this very large Monaro trend to the west. So preservation of that data has been critical to our exploration success here, and we're currently undergoing a lot of the earlier diamond and air core drilling pre-2005 only had limited multi-element data. FMG sort of recognised that, and we're embarking on a large resampling program across these areas with some of the diamond holes and the end of hole air core samples. So we're very excited about getting those data sets together, and this will help us define high quality drill targets. Outside these immediate areas, there's very limited drill testing along strike at the prospect scale. So this is the exploration environment that we're in. It's very flat ground, very obviously subdued there, but yeah, it's very flat would be a good word as well. And it's large broad acre farming. We've got a beautiful wheat crop there at the moment, and also canola. It can be very wet. 2022 was extremely wet. This is the middle of winter in 2022. We drilled on, you can't really see it there, we drilled on gravel pads to allow the rig to be able to keep working, otherwise it was just slop. Normally conditions are reasonable, and that would be a typical site we'd drill at the moment. So the early drilling in the 1980s was mostly RAB, auger, and with a little bit of diamond tails, and then mostly air core with and some with diamond tails through the early 1990s to the 2000s. Magmatic, like other companies, are dominantly drilling mud rotary in these to target prospects with diamond tails. The cover varies from 40 to 60 metres in the east, and in this area where we're drilling at Kingswood and Corvette at the moment, drilling is 100 to 140 metres of cover. And the cover it's the southern part of the Great Artesian Basin. It's unconsolidated sand, clay, sand, silts, gravels. It's interesting to drill. We've got limited saprolite development, which means we've got a restricted footprint. So this is the Corvette. So this is Corvette on the right, this area which we discovered in 2022, and this is Kingswood on the other side of this mag low, which was also been drilled quite extensively. So our drill program at Corvette was following up on Newcrest hole ACD and M90, which had 77 metres at 0.55 and 0.15 gold. It was a beautiful hydrothermal magmatic breccia, and was quite exciting to look at, and so we targeted there. The first hole we drilled there's very long intercepts, and with higher grade portions in it, which is always good. So we defined the resource, which we talked about a little before, but most importantly is this is open along strike, both north and south, and same with this position here. I'm just going to come and talk a bit about the rocks that we have at the rock types. I've got these narrow-mine volcanics here, which are the andesites, plagiaries, clays, porphyries, porphyritic andesites. They're generally poorly explored at Kingswood, but within the and mostly in clast and larger blocks within the breccias. We have the dominant rock type is this diorite to gabbro. Here it's quite a light. It's a diorite, but it can get quite a lot darker. Very distinctive coarse grain size and 3 millimetre grain size. The other unit we've got here. This is. I'll come back to this unit. So this is the Corvette Monza diorite. So it's got characteristic acicular hornblende crystals. And the other thing it has is mafic xenoliths, which are make it quite a distinct unit. Also has a distinctive scandium signature. So we've managed to map that unit out. I'll come back to that. This other unit is a crowded quartz monzonite. It's also been logged as a tonalite. These units have generally not always been differentiated in the logging, which has made it a little bit difficult to get the model together. This last sample is an interesting. We've got the diorite here, and it's been infilled with the potassium altered quartz monza diorite intruded into the breccia. And this is the mineralisation style. This is what everyone sort of likes. So yeah, sorry. So we've got our andesites up here with brecciate andesites with chalcopyrite infill. Another nice breccia example in B. C, you see it's quite nice, rounded, classed polymic breccias, and the infill is a beautiful magnetite chalcopyrite pyrite. So these are quite spectacular samples. We also have these carbonate veins with quartz carbonate veins with chalcopyrite blebs in them up to 10 millimetre. And this is some of the more not distal but more pervasive mineralisation we can get. Is these the diorite is magnetite altered and also with chalcopyrite and pyrite, and then these sheeted chalcopyrite pyrite veins. The last sample is just a nice piece of potassium altered infill, cement infill with chalcopyrite. So just to talk about exploration, how it was sort of viewed there, and the changes that we've come to is mostly. I mean, Peter talked about earlier, and that's generally the system. Is we've got these nice upright systems, and you can drill them and have some success down dip from geochemistry. So Magmatic and previous explorers also had a pencil porphyry type model, the classic North Parkes style, and so drill direction is a little bit less important when you have that vertical zonation. You just got to get under your geochem. The other part that we sort of have seen when we're looking at previous reports is the zero porphyry concept, such that if you do hit these monzonites, they've possibly stoped out mineralisation, and that sort of causes, and so you don't want to drill any further into those units. So we, after we completed the resource modelling in sort of mid 2023, we got some results. We got the mineralisation was inclined, which we sort of didn't expect, but that's how it looked, and it was quite consistent. The variography, I think Arnold from H&S is here, so yeah, so that's helped with that. So we took that, we looked at that and just said, what could our model look like if we've got all this inclined, if our mineralisation is inclined. And especially with this east dip. So we sort of scoured literature, and this is the one. This is from out of South America, La Colorunda, and I took this. This is from Corbett. So this is this upright sort of intrusions, and with breccias on each side, and so you're getting mineralisation developing on the edges rather than in the middle. So we sort of took that model and tilted it over, stuck some trees on top of it, and then said, you know, like we've got Corvette sitting in the hang wall position of that, and Kingswood is sitting in the footwall position, and that seemed to hung together quite well. And we were pretty excited to get that model happening. So how does that look? How does that look in the in plan? Is what we call in the Corvette monzodiorite is this sort of unit down here. So so that sits in a mag low. This is Corvette. The slice it through of the Corvette model, and is Corvette's on the right, and Kingswood on the left, and they all dip off to the east. So that model here, we know we've got these breccia zones sit along the edge of this monzodiorite, and we've got limited. So there's quite a bit of. You can see the drilling is where we've got all our resources, and relatively undrilled to the south and to the north. We've got kilometres of strike along there that we're pretty excited about. So I'll just go through I've got a section through the middle here, and then I've got one exploration section further to the south, which we'll get to in a bit. So the interpretation. It was really to get to the interpretation. It was really a hole by hole, section by section, pulling out each hole, looking at the photos, looking at the geochemistry, and trying to work out and then just trying to track that Corvette monzodiorite through the system, and not ignore the other monzodiorites, but just try to focus on where we're getting the right geochemistry and the right geological and structural, geological and textural relationships. So this is sort of a geochem map. So we've got the Corvette monzodiorite has been mapped. We've mapped that through here. That's the Corvette mineralisation. That's the Kingswood mineralisation. And on both sides of that, we had in the air core samples, we had a 2,000 ppm copper anomaly sitting on each side of the Corvette monzodiorite. Not a lot of drilling, but where it was in the right spot, we were getting these plus 2,000. So it's sort of confirming the model and also giving us some confidence in extending that to the south and planning exploration. The other issue that we had with this is that the drilling, because there was the perception of this vertical zonation. A lot of the drilling was actually drilled to the east. Not you know, and it's a bit of a mix, but yeah, there's a fair bit was drilled to the east. And as exploration geos know, if you're in the wrong spot and you're drilling straight down dip, if you're out here in the footwall, you'll just get peripheral lower grade mineralisation. Same here in the hanging wall, and also some of the holes that were drilled east in the Corvette monzonite just drilled straight down the monzonite. So this is the section through the two deposits. So we believe our resources. Oh shit! Sorry. So we believe our resources sit here in the hanging wall and the footwall of the Corvette monzodiorite in magmatic hydrothermal breccias. The mineralisation is pretty well untested along strike. There's about 15% of that zone is drilled, and just in this area here, you can see these holes here. So when we drill these vertical, not we drill these, but these were drilled by previous explorers. If they hit that monzonite, there wasn't much incentive to go back and drill further. There's also these holes drilling under air core anomalies that went straight down the monzonite, and one of our holes also dropped into the monzonite at the southern end of the deposit. So there's a lot of incentive not to drill east holes. We did a little bit of work on the calculated chalcopyrite to pyrite. This is work by Adam McKinnon. So we've got higher chalcopyrite ratios with the red, and then lower and then more pyritic to the with the blue. So we sort of do have the, if you like, the porphyry sort of the classic. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the sort of classic porphyry model with the pyrite on each side, with a sort of distal pyrite and then mineralisation in the middle, but with a barren monzonite through the middle of that. So this is the section that sits about 1.2 kilometres south of the Corvette mineralisation. It was drilled in the initial hole, so NACD 83 was drilled in 1996. It was a reconnaissance hole by Renison Goldfields. It was it's drilled this beautiful hydrothermal magmatic breccia. Seems to be more the character of that seems to be more monzonitic than the other breccias we had to the north, and are more gabbroic and andesitic, and this one seems to be more monzonitic. But yeah, beautiful magnetite, chalcopyrite, pyrite, cemented breccias. So that was sitting there. Resolute, as part of a joint venture with Renison Goldfields, drilled this hole in NACD 152 straight down underneath it, and there's a few comments that occasionally you come across where people thought this hole was drilled the wrong way, and we definitely Magmatic would now definitely agree with that. So there's a nice photo. This is the rounded mafic xenoliths that sit in the Corvette monzonite. So we think we've got a massive. So the position is it's sitting in this hanging wall of the mineralisation sitting in the hanging wall of the Corvette monzonite. This section doesn't show out there, but out here we also have the footwall position equivalent to the Kingswood mineralisation. So these holes, yeah, 3 minutes. Yeah, so these holes also have at that date in the early 90s, there's a very limited multi-element lithogeochemistry. So these are some of the holes that have been resampled as part of the program with FMG. These units have a very distinct scandium geochemistry signature. So just in summary, so I guess it comes back to, I've got 2 minutes to wrap up why we're still here. So the project was retained by Magmatic as part of the Goldfields Australasia East Lachlan project acquisition. There's very large, wide intercepts and large geochemical footprints, and we thought it had a tier 1 footprint similar to North Parkes. It was expensive to drill, but the upside is many untested anomalies. So we kept working through the data sets. We don't think it's identical to North Parkes, but there's a lot of similarities, and we're definitely pretty happy with the rocks we've got there. And the adopted pencil porphyry model is just, you got an air core anomaly there, and you drill underneath it, and if it's all dipping that way, they got written off. So there's some good. We're pretty happy with our model at the moment. So we're looking forward. So I think that the summary would be that going back through the data and the hole by hole, section by section interpretation, and looking at the data has really helped us in that sense. So we've developed this model. We're very excited to be working with it, and looking forward to drilling some holes and testing this. So we think it provides a lot more robust framework for us. Everyone talks about predictive exploration. I think this gives us that advantage in this belt at the moment. I'll just wrap up. Thanks to we've got a very good geological team. We've got Adam McKinnon, Peter Smith, Vlad David, and my wife Ilse Auxenburg, and also our field supervisor Ben, who painstakingly went and photographed all these air core holes, air core chips that I made him do. So thank you. So thank you for having us today.